Hello there, and welcome to Empowerment Podcast, Empowerment Through Science, a journey of exploration. I'm your host, Thobekile Gambu, and today we're diving into the incredible world of science hidden within our everyday routines. This is my absolute favorite topic. Have you ever thought about how many scientific processes take place while you go about your day? From your morning coffee to the tech in your phone, or even the way your body regulates temperature. Today's episode is going to be just about that. We're going to go into the science behind our daily routine. This is for anybody who's a science enthusiast, a curious thinker, or someone who loves practical knowledge. We'll explore the hidden wonders of chemistry in your kitchen, physics in your commute, biology in your workouts, and the mind-boggling technology in your gadgets. By the end of this episode, you'll never look at your daily routine the same way again. So let's dive right in. We're going to start with the chemistry of coffee and cooking. Let's kick things off with these two items. Your morning coffee, firstly. Have you ever wondered what actually happens when you brew that perfect cup? It's all chemistry. The process of extracting flavor from coffee beans is a carefully balanced interaction between temperature, water, and compounds within the coffee beans. We'll explore concepts like solubility, how temperature impacts flavor, and the art of the perfect brew. But coffee isn't the only thing that involves chemistry in your kitchen. Yes, that's correct. Cooking does as well. Cooking is one of the oldest forms of applied science. Every time you bake, you fry, you boil, or roast, you're triggering chemical reactions. For example, did you know that the Maillard reaction is responsible for the delicious browning and flavor in grilled meats or toasted bread? And emulsification is behind the magic of making smooth, creamy mayonnaise. So let's explore some of these everyday reactions. The science of coffee. The extraction process in coffee brewing refers to how water pulls out soluble compounds from the coffee grounds to create the beverage we drink. The solubility of these compounds, such as caffeine, oils, acids, and sugars, determines how much flavor, aroma, and body are extracted. So basically, when these solubilize or become soluble in your water, that is what you get. The flavors and the aroma and stuff that you get out are characteristics of the solubility of these compounds. So we're just going to now explore how it works. Water acts as a solvent during brewing. Hot water, in particular, can dissolve compounds more effectively than cold water, which is why brewing coffee typically involves using heat. So coffee contains many compounds, some of which dissolve quickly, like the acids and caffeine, while others, like oils and sugars, take a longer time to dissolve. These give coffee its flavor and texture. If you brew the coffee for too much of a short time or use water that's too cool, you'll under-extract, resulting in sour or weak coffee because not enough of the good compounds have dissolved. On the other hand, extra extraction also comes with its own issues because what happens is that when you brew for too long or with water that's too hot, making the coffee, it basically makes the coffee taste bitter because undesirable compounds have dissolved within the coffee or during the extraction process. So you obviously want to balance out that time and that temperature. Another thing that matters is grind size. The grind size of coffee affects extraction. Finer grounds increase the surface area for water to interact, speeding up the extraction process. And coarser grounds slow it down, which is why different brewing methods like espresso versus the French press require different grind sizes to achieve the perfect balance of solubility. So the key to great coffee is balancing time, temperature, and grind size. to extract just the right amount of flavor based on the solubility of the coffee's compounds. Now I want us to look at the caffeine's effects on the body, right? So the first thing that the caffeine does to you is it increases alertness. By blocking adenosine, coffee indirectly stimulates the release of other neurotransmitters like dopamine that promote alertness. So once it stimulates the release of these neurotransmitters, you become more alert, you have more attention, and a better cognitive function. This leads to heightened focus and energy levels. So a lot of people, when they get up in the morning, they want a boost of coffee so that their alertness can increase, they're more awake, they've got better energy, and so forth. The second thing is that it elevates your heart rate and blood pressure. So caffeine also increases the release of adrenaline from the adrenal glands, part of the body's fight or flight response. This results in a heart rate, dilated airways, and increased blood flow to the muscles, all of which help boost physical performance. So that's another thing. Some people also like taking coffee when they're going to the gym, just so that they have a better physical performance. So with the release of dopamine, caffeine increases these levels in the brain, which enhances mood and can contribute to a mild feeling of pleasure or well-being. And this mechanism is why caffeine is sometimes associated with positive reinforcement, and why many people feel happier or more energized after consuming it. And I can be counted as one of those people. With fat metabolism, caffeine can also stimulate the central nervous system to break down fat cells by increasing the hormone called epinephrine. I'm so sorry, you can Google this, but that is what the hormone is called. And this involves the release of fatty acids into the bloodstream for energy, particularly during physical activity. So this is one reason why caffeine is commonly used in weight loss supplements and workout formulas. Basically, that is now you having gotten up and having made a cup of coffee, you can already see all of the science that comes into that, the chemistry that comes into that, and also the biological and physical that happens within your body. Okay, so now we're going to look at cooking. So after you made your coffee, or while you're making your coffee, you might also fry an egg, you might fry bacon, and just make some sort of breakfast, right? So we're going to look at the science of cooking, and specifically what is called the Maillard reaction. This is how heat actually creates flavor. We're going to look at the science of emulsification and how it works in sauces like mayonnaise, and also just searing and roasting and its impacts on textures and taste, okay? So the Maillard reaction is how heat actually creates flavor. The reaction is a chemical process that occurs when food is cooked, particularly at high temperatures. So when you're cooking your bacon at high temperatures, when you're cooking your steak at high temperatures, this reaction is responsible for the browning and complex flavors we associate with grilled meats, with toasted bread, roasted coffee, and baked goods. So every time you make some bacon, or you fry a steak, or roast a steak, or grill some meat, that browning is actually due to this reaction. And the way this works is that the Maillard reaction happens when amino acids, which are the building blocks of proteins, react with reducing sugars in the presence of heat. When the temperature reaches about 284 to 329 Fahrenheit, the amino acids and sugars begin to break down and recombine in a series of reactions, creating hundreds of different compounds. These newly formed compounds now are then responsible for this rich, savory flavors and aromas that we associate with cooked foods. So that is something that is great to know about this reaction and how it relates to food. And why is this important? It's because this reaction is what makes browned food taste better. It adds nutty, toasted, and complex flavors to food, as well as a desirable brown color, contributing to the appearance of a well cooked meal. The specific flavors produced depend on the types of amino acids that are in the food, the types of sugars that are in the food, and this is why different fruits would basically develop different flavors when they're being cooked. So that is now something that you know behind some of the breakfast that you make, some of the dinners and the lunches that you make, right? So the second segment now, or the second item that I want us to look at, is the physics behind our morning routine. We all have a different morning routine. Some of us will enjoy coffee and breakfast, and then we'll do some exercises or whatever we want to do, or brush our teeth or take a shower. It depends, right? The type of person that you are. So I want us to specifically speak about the physics around the time when we are showering, for example. So we look at two different things. The first thing we're going to look at is the physics of water flow just from a tap, and then the physics of water flow or the interaction of water with your body when you're showering. Have you ever thought about why water behaves differently when it hits your skin in the shower compared to when it flows from the tap? That is called fluid dynamics. That is basically fluid dynamics at play. We'll talk about the laminar and turbulent flow and how water pressure makes a difference in your daily life. Water behaves in fascinating ways depending on how it flows, and this is governed by the principles of fluid dynamics, the study of how liquids and gases move. In our everyday life, we encounter two types of flow, either a laminar flow or a turbulent flow, both of which explain why water feels different when it hits your skin. In the shower, for example, compared to when it flows smoothly from a tap onto your hand. Excuse me. So we're going to look at the difference between the laminar flow and the turbulent flow. Laminar flow is the smooth, orderly flow of a liquid. In the laminar flow, the water particles move in parallel layers or streams with little to no mixing between them. So this is when water just flows smoothly from the tap. You can see that when water flows smoothly from a faucet at a low pressure, this is what you'll then see. Just the smooth flow of water or this parallel layers or streams of water flowing. So in the tap, when you gently turn the water on, the flow remains calm and predictable. The stream moves mostly silently, and you can feel the soft broken sheet of water against your hand. Okay, I don't know to what extent, but it does feel different when water touches your hand compared to the turbulent flow now. Turbulent flow, you can think of fast, it's chaotic, it's irregular. The water particles move in all directions, creating swirls and eddies. So turbulence is most likely to happen when water is under high pressure or if the flow is obstructed. In the shower, the water pressure is usually higher and the stream is broken up into droplets, resulting in a turbulent flow. This is why it feels different on your skin, more invigorating or even stinging. Sometimes when the water is opened quite a bit, you can actually feel that stinging on your body as the forceful, chaotic droplets actually hit your body. So that is turbulent flow. So why do these different flows matter, right, between a shower and a tap? In the shower, the water stream breaks into different droplets due to the high velocity and the smaller apertures. If you look at the shower head, you actually can see those little apertures. Those increase the turbulence or the force of water, and each droplet then interacts differently with the skin in a forceful and random pattern, creating that distinct feeling. In contrast, when water flows from a tap, it can maintain a smooth, luminous stream that glides evenly across your skin, creating a gentler sensation. So those are the two different things. So you can think of these when you actually open a tap, maybe to wash your hands or to wash your face with your hands, and you will really see that those different flows from opening a tap and then from taking a shower actually exist. So next time you take a shower, the sensations you feel, whether gentle or forceful, are all thanks to fluid dynamics. Okay? So you've made your coffee, you've made your bacon, and you've taken a shower. And now we want to get into some of the sound that you would have heard during the morning. So there's a lot of science there as well. So we'll speak of sound waves, which are an essential part of our day. Right now, you might be sitting at home. You can hear a dog bark. You can hear a banging. Maybe a worker or constructors working, or construction worker is working. You can hear all of those noises. So these sound waves are an essential part of our everyday life, whether it's the sharp buzzing of our alarm system, or traffic, or some of the things that I've mentioned, listening to a song. But these will then obviously travel through the air, and how you perceive them actually makes a difference in how they impact you and impact your emotions. So we're going to dive into the fascinating science behind sound waves. Firstly, what are sound waves? At their core, sound waves are simply vibrations that travel through a medium. So this medium can be air, it can be water, it can be solid. So through air, when you hear dogs bark, those are sound waves traveling, or vibrations traveling through air. And if, for example, you are in a pool and you hear people speak from outside of the pool, those are vibrations traveling through water. Or vibrations can travel through a solid object. For example, if something is hit, you can actually hear the sound from there. So these vibrations are what create, the vibrations are created when an object moves, causing the molecules around it to compress and expand in a rhythmic pattern. These movements forms a wave that carries the sound through the medium until it reaches your ear. So within the ear now, there are different parts of the ear that actually determine how you perceive the sound. So your ears are finely tuned instruments that translate sound waves into electrical signals that your brain can actually interpret. And we're going to start with the outer ear. This outer ear plays the role of capturing the wave. So the outer ear, which is also known as the pinna, acts as a funnel, collecting waves and directing them into the ear canal, where they hit the eardrum, and then the eardrum then vibrates in response to the compressions of the sound wave. Once this eardrum vibrates, it then gets to the middle ear, where the amplification of the vibration takes place. The vibrations from the eardrum are transferred to 3 tiny bones in the middle ear. That's the hammer, the anvil, and the stirrup. So I'm not going to go into detail about those. You can check them out. And these bones basically amplify the vibrations that are received from the outer ear and pass them into the inner ear. When it gets to the inner ear, this is when it is then converted from vibrations to signals. In the inner ear, the vibrations reach the cochlea, a snail-shaped, fluid-filled organ lined with thousands of tiny hair cells. As the fluid moves in response to the vibrations, the hair cells bend and send electrical signals to the brain. So the brain then processes these signals and actually interprets them as sound. Whether it's your favorite song, the song of rain, or the beep of an alarm, this is how the signals are then interpreted into sound. So that's quite interesting, hey? Basically how this happens within your ear. So sound waves are all around us, like I've mentioned, and they influence our daily experiences in more ways than one. Like I mentioned, some sounds can make you happy, can give you a feeling of calm, but some sound waves really agitate you. I mean, when you're driving and you hear that hooter, do you not get agitated sometimes? Compared to sounds that we maybe listen to when we want to meditate, those sounds are very calming. So that is something that you need to keep in mind now and remember as you go by your day. Now that you're out of the house, let's talk about the science behind your daily commute. Whether you're driving, cycling, walking, or taking public transport, there's a lot of science behind how we move through the world. So we'll discuss the physics of motion and transport. So we'll look at some of those basic principles that govern every vehicle, whether it's Newton's laws of motion or the role of friction and inertia in keeping us safe on the road. Understanding these principles will help you appreciate just how amazing it is that we can move with such precision and speed. So the basic principles of motion in everyday vehicles is the science that keeps us safe and moving. Every time you step into your car, bus or hop onto a bike, you are engaging with the same fundamental principles of physics that govern motion. These concepts, known as the Newton's laws of motion, friction, and inertia, aren't just abstract scientific ideas. They are at work every second that you move, keeping you safe and allowing vehicles to operate with precision and speed. So let's break these down now and explore how they make transportation possible. Firstly, Newton's laws of motion. This is the foundation of physical vehicle movement. When we talk about the movement of any vehicle, whether it's a car, whether it's a train or an airplane, we're really talking about the laws of motion. And these are formulated by Sir Isaac Newton in the 17th century. These laws help us understand how forces interact to create movement and how vehicles remain in motion or stop. So the first law that we're going to look at is the law of inertia. This says that an object at rest stays at rest, and an object in motion stays in motion with the same speed and in the same direction unless acted upon by another unbalanced force. This is often called the law of inertia, which means that a vehicle will keep moving keep doing what it's doing, whether stationary or moving, unless some external force makes it change. So how does inertia impact us on the road? Have you ever noticed how you lurch forward when a car comes to a sudden stop? So when a car comes or hits brakes or comes to a sudden stop, you're basically pulled forward and then back. That's inertia. Your body wants to keep moving at the same speed even when the vehicle stops. This is why seatbelts are crucial. They counteract the inertia that would otherwise cause you to keep moving and potentially hit the dashboard or windshield. The second law that we're going to look at is the relationship between force, mass, and acceleration. So the force acting on an object is equal to its mass multiplied by its acceleration. This law explains how much force is needed to make a vehicle accelerate. The larger the mass of the vehicle, the more force it will require to speed up or slow down. So if I can give you an example, imagine you're driving a heavy truck versus a small car. The truck has much more mass, so it takes much more force from the engine to accelerate it compared to the smaller car. This is why sports cars, which were designed to be lightweight, can accelerate much faster than large vehicles. So engineers must consider the mass of a vehicle when designing engines and brakes. Powerful engines are needed to generate enough force for acceleration, and strong brakes are essential to apply enough force to decelerate the vehicle to safety. The third law that we're going to look at is action and reaction. This says that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. This law explains how vehicles are able to move forward just when they need to move. When the tires push against the road pushes back with an equal force in the opposite direction, propelling the vehicle forward. So how does this keep us safe? This principle applies to braking. When you apply brakes, the car tires push against the road to create enough friction to slow down, and the road pushes back, allowing the vehicle to decelerate. So I want us to also look at a term called friction. This is the force that stops and steers vehicles. Friction is a crucial force that helps vehicles move and stop. It's the resistance that one surface or object encounters when moving over another. While friction is often seen as something that slows us down, it's actually the key to controlling a vehicle. So there's friction between tires and the road, there's friction in braking, and that is what allows the vehicle to eventually be able to brake when you hit brakes. So that is quite interesting about some of these laws. And lastly, when it comes to inertia, this is the law that actually helps with vehicle safety. It plays a major role in ensuring that we're safe in our vehicles because of systems like seatbelts, airbags, and crumple zones. So seatbelts are designed to hold you in place when a vehicle comes to an abrupt stop. Without them, inertia would cause your body to continue moving forward, which could result in an injury. Airbags, on the other hand, during a collision, inflate rapidly to provide a cushion between you and the vehicle's interior. They work alongside seatbelts to manage inertia by slowing down your forward motion in a controlled way, reducing the risk of serious injury. So those are some of the forces or some of the laws that are at play when we are in motion. So every time you're traveling, just remember that those laws are at play. So once you've reached your destination through traveling, whether through a bus or a car or a bike or a bicycle, whether it's to work or play, biology takes center stage in everything that you do, especially in movement and exercise. Let's dig into how your body works when you move. Firstly, with muscles and the energy systems. Your muscles are powered by cellular processes that involve chemical reactions. So every time that you are moving your muscles, you are engaging chemical reactions. And also when you're stretching or after you gym and you want to recover with your stretching or you want to ensure that your muscles aren't painful later on the day, stretching isn't just about flexibility, it's about keeping your muscles in optimal shape for long-term use. So that is very important for movement. When we think about stretching, we often picture bending down to touch our toes or reaching the sky to loosen up after a long day. While flexibility is certainly a key benefit of stretching, it's only the tip of the iceberg. Stretching is essential for maintaining muscle health, promoting long-term mobility, and enhancing overall physical performance. So now we'll break down what happens at the microscopic level in your muscles when you stretch, and why recovery is just as important for maintaining optimal muscle function. So what happens when we stretch? To understand the full benefits of stretching, we first need to explore what's happening within your muscle on a cellular level. Stretching involves the elongation of muscles and tendons to improve flexibility and range of motion. But let's get a little deeper. So there's something called muscle fiber structure. Your muscles are composed of bundles of long fibers known as myofibrils, which contain proteins that allow muscles to contract and stretch. These fibers are wrapped in layers of connective tissue that give the muscle its structure. And then there's something called sarcomeres, and that goes with stretching. The smallest functional unit of a muscle fiber is called a sarcomere. It's made up of two key proteins, actin and myosin, that slide past each other during contraction and separate during stretching. When you stretch, the sarcomeres elongate, which allows the muscle to lengthen. Stretching helps these return to their optimal resting length, which keeps your muscles flexible and primed for efficient contractions. Then there's stretch reflex. Have you ever noticed that when you stretch a muscle quickly, it tenses up? This is known as stretch reflex, a natural protective mechanism that prevents overstretching. When a muscle is stretched too quickly, sensors in the muscle send signals to the spinal cord, which then triggers the muscle to contract. To get most out of a stretch, you need to stretch slowly and hold the position, allowing the muscle spindle response to calm down so the muscle can lengthen fully. Why is stretching important for muscle health? This is because it's an increased range of motion. Regular stretching helps lengthen muscles and tendons, improving your range of motion. It reduces muscle tension and soreness. It improves circulation, so blood flow is improved, and it enhances muscle performance. So that is why stretching is important. So you can see now already that a lot of biology takes place when you get to your destination, and you're either stretching or moving or making some sort of movement where you are. So that is important to remember, and we've mentioned some of those important reasons for stretching. So we're going to now end our busy day with the science of sleep and mental focus. At the end of the day, your body craves rest and recovery, which brings us to the science of sleep. Sleep plays a crucial role in your health, productivity, and even your ability to learn and focus. We'll explore the different stages of sleep, from light sleep to deep REM, which is rapid eye movement sleep, and how each stage is important for different functions in your body and your brain. Understanding the different stages and the impacts on your brain and your body is very important. Sleep is something we all do, but not many of us understand the complex and fascination and the fascinating process that occur during those hours of rest. Sleep is not a passive state. Your brain and your body are actively working, performing essential functions for your overall health and well-being. In this segment, we'll explore the different stages of sleep, how they affect your body and brain, and why each stage is crucial. So if we look at the sleep cycle, we'll take a deep dive into these stages. The first stage is light sleep. This lasts for just a few minutes at the beginning of the sleep cycle. So what exactly happens? This is the transition stage between wakefulness and sleep. You may sleep like you're drifting in, and out of consciousness, and it's easy to wake up during the sleep. Your brain produces theta waves, which are slower and more synchronized than the higher frequency beta waves seen when you're awake. Your heartbeat, breathing, and eye movements begin to slow down and your muscles relax. You might experience hypnic jerks, which are sudden muscle twitches when you are in this stage. Although it's the lightest stage of sleep, stage 1 is crucial for transitioning into deeper stages of sleep. If you're disturbed often in this stage, you might struggle to progress into the deeper stages. Stage 2 is light to moderate sleep, the longest stage, typically lasting about 20 to 25 minutes per cycle. So what happens here? Your brain activity slows down and bursts of rapid brainwave activity now as sleep spindles occur. These spindles are believed to play a role in memory consolidation, helping to transfer short-term memories into long-term. You'll also experience K complexes, which are brief bursts of brain activity that help protect sleep by keeping you from waking up in response to external stimuli. Body temperature drops and your heart rate slows down even as you prepare for a deeper stage of sleep. Stage 2 sleep plays a key role in processing and storing memories, as well as problem solving and learning new skills. So, hey, you need to get deeper in your sleep. And then the deep sleep, typically 20 to 40 minutes in earlier sleep cycles, though it decreases as the night progresses, is the last level of sleep. In this stage, you enter deep sleep, also known as slow wave sleep, due to the production of delta waves, the slowest, highest amplified brain waves. This is the most restorative stage of sleep. Your muscles relax completely, your blood pressure drops, and your breathing slows. It's difficult to wake during this stage, and if you do, you basically feel a bit disorientated. It's important for physical recovery as that happens in deep sleep. Your body repairs muscles, tissues, and bones and strengthens your immune system and replenishes energy stored. Actually, the last stage of your sleep, is the REM sleep. This is 10 minutes in the first cycle and increases to up to 60 minutes in later cycles. During REM sleep, your brain becomes highly active, similar to when you're awake. Your eyes move rapidly under your eyelids, your heart rate increases, and your breathing becomes irregular. Most vivid dreaming occurs in this stage, and this is due to heightened brain activity. REM sleep also involves increased protein synthesis in the brain, aiding in cognitive functions such as learning and memory. REM sleep is crucial for emotional regulation, problem solving, and creative thinking. It plays a significant role in memory consolidation, particularly for procedural memory. Basically, if you deprive yourself of REM sleep, it can lead to mood disturbances, memory problems, and cognitive impairments. So all sleep stages are important for mental and emotional health, for physical recovery and health, and for cognitive function. So when you don't get enough sleep, you can become drowsy or foggy-headed, and you just can become irritable if you haven't had enough sleep. And some long-term effects of not sleeping well are heart disease and hypertension, weakened immune system, and increased risk of mental health issues, including cognitive decline. So you can improve your sleep by sticking to a sleep schedule, creating a relaxing bedtime routine, limiting exposure to blue light, optimizing your sleep environment, and watching what you eat and drink. So that is when you come to the end of your day. Quite a lot happening there at the end of the day. So we've come to the end of today's special episode of Empowerment Through Science. a journey of exploration where we looked at how science plays a role in our everyday life. I hope you now have a deeper appreciation for the science that's happening all around you in your daily routine. From your morning coffee to your evening workouts, science is working behind the scenes, if we can put it that way. So just know that is how science plays a role. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you in our next episode. Bye.
Empowerment Podcast. Inspire, equip, and empower.